Good morning and welcome to this wonderful session on women entrepreneurs in the time of COVID. My name is Christina Sharkey and I'm the commercial counselor here at the U.S. Embassy in Prague, and I'll be your moderator for today. This event is part of the Embassy's Global Entrepreneurship Week, and we've partnered with Deloitte and their SheXO Club to put together this program. Thank you so much, Deloitte. I'd like to share first a few words about the Embassy's programs on entrepreneurship. This week, 180 U.S. embassies across the globe are hosting more than 40,000 events, reaching 10 million people to talk about entrepreneurship. While this week is special, we've organized programs throughout the year. And I'd like to take this opportunity to announce that the U.S. Embassy will launch the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs in Prague next year. This free program provides women with the tools needed to create and grow their own businesses, raise capital, and effectively network with other successful business owners. Academy participants join a facilitated course on entrepreneurship designed by one of the United States' premier international business schools, Thunderbird. Upon completion, participants receive a certificate from Thunderbird, and then they join in a pitch competition in front of potential investors for the chance at a cash prize. Please follow our social media and website for more information at the beginning of next year how you can be a part of this exciting new program. I also need to make a quick pitch about Select USA. As the commercial counselor at the U.S. Embassy, I'm in charge of business relations between the U.S. and the Czech Republic. And part of that is helping Czech companies successfully invest in the United States. The United States is the world's largest market and something that you can't miss as a growing successful business. We do programs throughout the year specifically thinking about the questions you might have on investment. Along with our wonderful event in every June is the Select USA Summit. And we even have a special track for tech companies called Select USA Tech. So if you're interested in that, please get in touch with me. And one last note, today, November 20th, just so happens to be the birthday of a very special American woman that was also the First Lady of the Czech Republic, Charlotte Garrig-Masaryk, and the very first example of successful U.S.-Czech relations. And now, let me introduce our speakers for today. First up, we have Diana Rádl Rogerova.
Hello.
She is the managing partner here at Deloitte, Czech Republic. Diana joined Deloitte in 1996, and 20 years later, she became managing partner. She acts also as the Chief Strategy Officer and member of the Executive Committee of Deloitte Central Europe and leads the financial services industry team. Over the course of her 20-year professional career, Diana has gained significant insight into auditing and reporting under Czech accounting standards and international financial reporting standards, and established the real estate department at Deloitte, focusing on real estate marketing advisory. Diana, quick question. What is your secret to finding long-term success within a company like Deloitte?
I believe it's quite easy for me. I'm challenging myself all the time. Yeah, I believe I'm open for the challenge and I like it, so I'm challenging myself.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Simona Kijonková, the CEO and founder of Packeta Group.
Good morning.
Simona is one of the leading Czech female entrepreneurs and a startup investor. Her Zasilkovna, which she founded in 2010, developed into Packeta, a holding group of 10 companies and a global digital logistic platform connecting all of Europe with a turnover of more than 1 billion Czech crowns. Simona, what do you find to be the most rewarding aspect of being a founder?
I think doesn't matter if you're a woman or man, that you definitely have a great vision and a great idea. The first thing and the most important. The second, you have to believe in yourself. And because you have to jump over the barriers all the time is the third thing. And therefore, I think definitely you have to cover it around great team and great people, believe in yourself and be humbled.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And then we have Jitka Schmiedová, the Human Resources Director for Central and Eastern Europe at Veolia. Yitka has been working in the human resources area on a full-time basis since 1998 in many top companies, for example, as the Chief Human Resources Officer at NN Investment Partners, Human Resources Director at Erste Bank, Česká spořitelna, the biggest bank in the Czech Republic, Chief Human Resources Manager at Vodafone, and Human Resources Manager at Mitsubishi Electro Automotive Europe. And so this is a tough question. So how would you compare working for a foreign company versus a Czech one?
I wonder if I ever really worked in a pure Czech company. if you ask like this, I think the biggest differences are diversity. In a Czech company, we're not so diverse in terms of mind, background, experience, gender, while in the foreign companies this is quite natural. So that I think this is the most striking difference. But also in a Czech company there is a special Czech humor which I like so much, the so-called black humor, or a little bit of healthy cynicism, easygoing approach to problems. So that is also something that I liked in a Czech company a lot.
I admit I have to ask for a little help understanding Czech humor.
I'm happy with that. I learned a lot in the Japanese company how to bridge these two cultures.
That's got to be difficult. And then lastly, we are so lucky to be joined by Cheryl Edison, who is coming at us from California. Hi, Cheryl.
Hello, hello.
Cheryl is great.
Good evening.
Cheryl is the CEO of Edison International. She is a Silicon Valley serial entrepreneur and global business development expert with a track record of successfully launching companies' products and services into new markets across 47 industries. She was hired by industry leaders and startups to provide pioneering strategies and practical tactics. Today, she advises Global 500 on innovation creation and leads presentations and workshops for a wide range of interest groups. Cheryl, tell us about an interesting company that you helped to start.
You know, I've been thinking about this, and I would say that one of my most favorite is always the last one. So the last one is a company called Legal.io that provides legal staffing services for companies all over the world, and particularly here in Silicon Valley. So all kinds of legal services.
Great. Thank you so much, Cheryl. And just before we move on to our program, I'd like to let all of our viewers know that you have an opportunity to ask questions at any time. There's a button in the upper right-hand portion of your screen. We will address questions at the end, but sometimes I know it's nice to be able to ask a question when you're hearing, and so you don't forget it. And with that, we'll move on to Diana from Deloitte. And thanks again for hosting.
Thank you.
Diana, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So I was asked to provide somehow like a background on how to keep the strategy moving all the time, because I overtook exactly 4 years ago the Czech practice, but as well today I'm leading even the strategy for the whole Europe, so which is very challenging, I should say, in the Deloitte Globe. So for me the topic was very interesting. So thank you for choosing this topic for me. But I would like maybe to start a bit backwards and to say when I overtook, the firm was in great shape. I was growing. We have been number 2 on the market. Who cares whether you are number 1 or 2? I do not pay too much attention to that. But the reality was that the firm was very strong. So I was raising to myself the question, okay, what's your ambition? What do you want to change? Yeah? So where you are the proper fit right now? So that was like the first, from my side, strategic question which I raised to myself. And the answer for me was quite obvious, because I found out that my main ambition as the firm is that I would like to be creating the future for my people, my clients, and my society. So really it was about impacting the things which I'm doing, because I love the things which make an impact. It's not only about me, it should be about society, etc. And I found out at the same time that to do such a thing, you really need to have a great culture, which is diversified, which is open-minded, when the people feel safe. Safe to make mistakes, because if you do not do mistakes, you do not try anything, and the strategy cannot be moving and cannot be flexible. So my first thing was how to move in the cultural side, not strategic part, but culture side, because I had a great quote which says that culture eats strategy for breakfast. So, which is true, So as long as you do not have a great culture, you can have the best strategy and it doesn't work. So my main ambition was really to try to create such an environment where the people feel really safe, they can be innovative, they can be coming with new ideas, because I saw that I want to be seen as a technology-driven firm in whatever I do, from audit up to advisory. That was one of the strategic ambitions. I wanted to be always one step ahead, so I was asking all the time my people, okay, what's next? What is the future of home office? What is the future of work? What is the future of learning? What is the future of e-commerce? Yeah? So I wanted to be like seeing ourselves like, okay, how we can be helping the companies by doing it in ourselves. So we really like started to change completely our environment. And as you normally start, you start from the top because the people follow the behaviors of the leaders. So we started really with plenty of programs on Deloitte side on the partnership level, which I called Connected, because the main ambition is how we can cooperate more, collaborative environment where the people really can go to each other. And I like what Jitka was saying at the beginning, and it was exactly what we have been trying to think about. It's about the diversity of skill set. Because what I found out is that plenty of us have been very similar. You like the person who speaks like you, react like you, but in reality it's not too helpful for you. For your strategy, for everything what you can do, you need people vice versa complementary, which for us was very difficult. Like how I will understand what you are talking about. So we really created a program which we call Connected strategically to really learn how to accept other people to the teams, how to become much more in the skill set diversified. And we even started, which on the men environment was not easy at the beginning, trust me, because the men believe they know everything, they do not need the coaching. And this really changed on the last few years. I'm so proud of the team that we all realized that, but that's the woman's strength, The women are always open for that, So the men's, it was difficult at the beginning. So I couldn't go and say, you need a coach, it will not work. So I strategically decided to go a bit different direction and call the program Connected, where we have been trying to really better understand each other. We even passed through the Gallup, where we have been like working on our strengths, because I believe on the culture which is strengths-based. I do not care, we do not know. I care what you know, which is a big difference. I would like the people to be working on where they are really good, which strategically was a big shift. Before you have all the KPIs. Did you meet the KPI? No. Wow, what we will do. So vice versa, today we are much more working on, okay, what's your passion for? What do you love? How I can help you with that. So we really, which requires strategically that you need people who are mentoring you, coaching you all the time, and you are open-minded. So from my perspective, it was very important to be starting to change these behaviors, culture. And I should say, I'm very proud of the people today, because I believe we really change comparing to others competitors. We are much more seen, like technological. We are coming all the time with ideas. Look to this building, When I started 4 years ago, we have been saying we need to move. We need to show to the people that the work will be different. We have home office, so how to collaborate. Today we have so many visits of clients coming and asking, how did you manage? How do you do this? How do you do that? The same, we started, everybody was saying when I was asking for the strategy on gaming. Sports. They were saying, why it's crazy, saying, Jesus, it will come. Let's have a strategy behind, let's start to think about it. And it came. So we have been due to that very quick to the market. Look to this studio. Who will expect that Deloitte will be creating studios? And this is exactly, I believe what we move is that the people are coming all the time with ideas. So strategically, my strategy is very simple. We need to have people who are open-minded and want to create something new. They want to be proud of themselves. I cannot motivate thousands of people. They need to find their self-motivation. So I need to create an environment where they feel safe. So strategically, it's very easy. I am concentrating on all the time only on people, because the clients then follow. And this is how I see it, that really if we are good with the people, the clients are satisfied, etc. Of course, as I said, it was not only about us, but we put plenty of attention on the fact that we are living in some society and that we believe on the future of this country. So we have spent plenty of time on looking as well what's going around us and how we can contribute to that, because what is today very visible is that the people want to work for the firms which make impacts not only inside but as well outside. And you want to be proud to yourself that you are doing something more than only gaining money or for your family, etc. So we started to think a bit more, and we found ourselves on the learning area. So we really started with clubs for kids, which are for free, when we are showing to the kids how the technology will look like in the future, that they can be great even if they are baking. They can be great in photographs, that you do not need to be only a lawyer or economist, but that we have plenty of great scientists, even Czech Republic, etc. So we are showing to the kids how important it is to have a passion for something. And the second thing which we are trying to show the kids is that it's a big difference if you want to learn something or you have to learn something. And that we would like majority of them to want it to learn, because if you are a learner, then the world is open for you. So we're concentrating a lot of learning. That's why as well today we are, for example, strategically looking to the learning like as whole. We are creating just now the virtual studio, full virtual, but which should include as well virtual reality for learning, because we believe that this is the way how it will be moving in the future. So that it's much more reactive, plenty of combinations. So everything what is E, it's in our strategy. Yeah, even e-culture. Yeah, we have been discussing e-culture and saying, what is e-culture? Saying, I have no clue, but there will be some e-culture. Then the pandemic came, and everybody was thinking, okay, you see, they are on the television, they are trying to do. Yeah, but we have been saying, let's try to combine those things. So we will be doing now the hackathon on how to combine the technology with really cultural-like things, paintings and everything, which will be interesting. I believe the results will be nice. So the strategy is really on concentrating all the time on what's next. Yeah, challenging ourselves, raising the question of what will be happening on this business. I do not trust that we are better than, for example, Simona in e-commerce. This is not the case, but the fact that I can combine various businesses, I can bring her like the experience from the other business, it can be helpful for her. So we are rather looking to the things from the future perspective, but at the same time we are saying we need the people who are able to implement. Because it's great to have visions, but if you do not have the people who can quickly implement, and they are saying, what I really hate if somebody is telling me, yeah, next year we will have it. I do not care about next year, yeah, because the world will be completely different. Yeah? So we are really having like very, very flexible strategy from the perspective that it should be quick, easily implemented. Yeah? So that's why we need plenty of technology behind, etc., to be able to do so and communicate appropriately. And the most important are the people. So clients, people, open-minded culture. This is the strategy which we have, and I believe globally we are following all the same. Yeah? Important for us was as well, as I said, that the people feel not only safe, but plenty of people and plenty of companies talk about well-being. Yeah, but they speak about that, but they do not do too much around that. Yeah, and there is a big difference. Yeah, the people see when you talk and you do not follow what you say. Yeah, which was as well very important that we are following. If we are promising something, we are doing so. So we have, for example, which is interesting, we have 2 rooms where you can use virtual reality for meditating. Yeah, so which is nice after 7 minutes, and I was surprised when I was using it for the first time. So, but it's amazing. Yeah, that each of us needs. That's why we have the gym here that everybody can go. Plenty of people are running. I'm a big believer that you need to be health body and health mind. That it's both. So from time to time we are having competitions. We are doing walking meetings. We are not too much sitting on the. So plenty of things we change culturally, and I should say I'm so proud of the people which I have, because they are amazing. Without them, I will not be here, yeah, because they are doing the job, etc. I'm just trying to really give them the space. That's my main role.
That's great. A quick question. So I think what I gathered really from what you were talking about is that you have the ability to be entrepreneurial within a large company, which I think is amazing. And a lot of people don't see large companies in that way. One of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs see is a fear of failure, which keeps them from being successful. One of the things you were talking about was, when we had a discussion beforehand, was education and COVID, and some of the solutions that you might have tried and tried to sell. Can you talk a little bit about some of those solutions? You know, do they work? Do they not work? How does that look for the future of education?
Okay. In regards to the future of education, we took it from 2 perspectives. Yeah? Education for the corporations and education for the schooling, etc. I should say on the schooling side, I have been very disappointed, because we came with the various ideas already to the Ministry of Education. They have been ready for everything. I saw the reality different. But at least what we tried, and this helped a lot, was we created Deloitte for Schools, where we have been really teaching plenty of schools on how to use technology. So solution was very simple. We will help you to understand what is Microsoft, what is Google, how to use those platforms, how to not misuse the platforms, because plenty of data of the kids, you will be surprised, have been everywhere. So we have been going back to the schools, etc. But where we have been still not successful is the part where we believe that the learning needs to change, because now we are online, offline, and everybody believes that online means that you switch the offline to online. This is not online learning, yeah? But still, we are only at the beginning, and we have not been able to persuade the Ministry of Education that we need to be starting already to be thinking about hybrid models, yeah? Because this will be the world of the future. The people want to travel much more. Even, and I said it many times, I am not sure that the university is the future, yeah? So we need to have completely hybrid models. So this is on the schooling. On the corporate side, we really created already some, let's say, learning programs for CEOs, but as well now we are working on this virtual reality. And the solution is not ready yet, but we should become the Deloitte's global center for virtual reality and learning, which means that we are having solutions where technologically you will be able to learn very quickly topics which you want, but we would like to focus on leadership. Yeah, so we would like to focus on leadership because we believe the leadership of the future is one of the main topics, because I am not a believer on one leader, it's leadership. So we would like to be much more concentrating on this level of the leadership and training that. So we have already learned this, we are working on the readiness of the solution, but it's not yet.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing more about that as it develops.
Yeah, it will.
And so now we'll move on to Simona, our next speaker. Simona, the floor is yours.
Good morning again. Do you know what, Diana? I would countersign everything what you just mentioned, because I would like to share my experience and my opinion for how to manage business during this COVID time. And I definitely think that the best way is to be a digital chameleon. And I think that you just mentioned that it's very important your focus to your people and for a culture of company, and it's definitely something would help me a lot during this COVID season, because you know, I manage quite a huge company, 1,500 people, and you know, it happened indeed. It was March 12th. When government decided about, you know, that the retail is closed and all these changes, and people had to stay in their homes and etc. And during a couple of hours, I had to build my crisis management team. It's covered around 17 people. I had to put a general cap on my head, and I had to become from leader to general, because, you know, during normal time, you are a partner, you are a leader. But during crisis, you have to be a general. You have to lead a team. And I had to do a lot of changes, and I had to send all my 1,500 people at home. For home office. And of course, we weren't ready on the beginning, but you mentioned that crisis brings a lot of changes, and it happened during one weekend. So we changed all our company to, and we put it to Microsoft Teams. And we started to learn how to work with this equipment, and it was quite hard. You know, but we have also a lot of people who have to be in first line, and depots, and drivers, and the people in IT as well, because they have to be very helpful, and it's very hard for them, because they have to be right in the first line, and I have to be there for them. And I prepared some presentation for you, so if I can share this presentation. And I would like to share some principles and my experience from the crisis. And the first is definitely to be a chameleon. The first thing is a digital, and you know, we were established as a digital platform. And this digital running of the company is really the most important thing, and that is different from our competition and from our competitor, because when this first day D happened in March, I had to do a lot of changes, and I had to do a lot of unpopular decisions. and it was really really uncomfortable for me. But this then came again, and on October 21st it happened again, and government decided to close retail again. And my company Packeta and Zásilkovna it depends on retail a lot, because we have a lot of pickup points. It's 3,600 pickup points in the Czech Republic and more than 5,000 in Europe. And it happened in March when 50% of these pickup points were closed. And my turnover were decreasing up to 50%. It was really, really hard for me, because cash is king, right? So I had to prepare all the company for this decreasing and for these troubles. And yeah, I had to do a lot of unpopular decisions, and I had to cut the salaries, cut the costs very fast. I had to do a lot of unpopular decisions, like from minute to minute, not from the day to day. And because you're ready with cash, we could handle this time. It took 2 months. And everybody asked me, Simona, you are on the horse, right? Because e-commerce is increasing, it's incredible, it's great. Because it's quite important, because as you can see, e-commerce is running and is increasing. We'll have 200 billion turnover this year, and 55 billions will deliver in goods by Packeta. So it's quite huge numbers. But still, these 2 months were really uncomfortable for me, because like all the numbers were decreasing. So I had to do like very fast changes, and suddenly then the number 2 came October 21st, and government decided to close retail again, but we didn't have decrease 50% as before, but only 10%, because retail they had learned already that they closed their own business, but they let open for us. It means that pickup points, they were open, but they had to close their own business. So it's really incredible what's happening outside right now. And so our business is going quite well right now, but still is over than 100% increasing right now. And I feel like it's a crisis of people, of depots, of sources. So I feel that it's uncomfortable for me again, because if I prepared plans on the beginning of 2020, it was I planned some, budgets and increasing around 90%, and currently I have increasing around 128% year to year. Is really incredible. And thank you, Diana, because yesterday I have learned that we won some contest, and we became to be a part of 50 the fast-growing companies in the Czech Republic. So thank you very much. And we belong to some best technological companies in the Czech Republic. So I really appreciate it. Thank you. But if you have some plans and you don't meet the plans, and this increase is really higher and faster than you expect, it's a crisis of sources as well, and it's a different problem. So I think I would share some crisis management principles. That's courage, openness, and fairness. And I think that communication to your people, your team, employees, and your clients and partners, and to be very open and to tell them everything and fair enough is very helpful. And I started some live streams. Also, I have a studio in my company as well, and I try to speak to my all the employees, and I have employees in 8 countries right now, so I have to speak to them and explain what's going on in Hungary, what happened in Slovakia, what about the change in the Czech Republic, and what happened in their lives and our business. And I have to give them vision, and I have to give them feel that everything will be right, because everybody of us, the people, need the lights at the end of the tunnel. And I think that our government right now, they don't give us these lights at the end of the tunnel. So I definitely try to do it for my people, because I think that is the most important thing in this time, to give them some vision, to give them a future, that everything will be right. You know, the first World War ended, and the Second World War ended, and we had a lot of pandemic in the past already. So I think that this pandemic will pass away as well. So I consider that everything will be right. We have to be only digital chameleons for a couple of months, maybe 2 years, but everything will be gone. Yeah, the other thing that I didn't have any time for analysis, so and I had to do decisions like very quick, and I have to be consider that it's right, even I want right. I have to tell to my people I'm right, and it will be fine. And okay, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened, and. Yeah, and I think that if you know, if normal time you are a friend and you are a good leader, but during the crisis you have to be general, and you have to give all the people like a right perspective what to do and help them with the decisions, and you have to tell them this decision is fast. Okay, we didn't have enough time for analysis, or you know, to do like a lot of data and etc. But we have to be sure that it's right, even it's unpopular and uncomfortable for the people. And I think that for the for is most important people to tell them and speak them very often, and to be open. And yeah, I think the communication is number one, but communication has to be fair and open, not like our government who, you know, I'm so confused what's happening, if retail be open or not, if it will be Christmas or not, when our people and when our people will come back from home offices, or when our children, because I have 3 children and I have now one youngest in the school, 2 older, they're at home and they're waiting, because, and they ask me all the time, Mama, and when we'll come back to the school? Nobody knows. Yeah. Okay, we have some perspective of government PES, right? That maybe during the November, maybe in December, but it's something according this thing. I'm not able to run my company. I have to run my company together with my people, my team, and like ask only myself and my brain what to do. Because if I help for some help from outside or from government, please don't do it. If you wait for the help from government, maybe you would wait forever. So the first thing what I would share my experience and my good advice is to try to help yourself and try to help in your community, in your market. But it's something what I really do, because I'm trying to support all my partners, e-commerce partners, and of course partners from retail. And they told me that they really thank you for this help, because, you know, if you're a business and retail is closed, and I bring the customer to retail stores, I think is very good help, and at least some turnover in this days. So I think that to help each other is another thing what is very important.
Absolutely. I mean, in these days, everybody needs a little bit of help. One thing that I picked up on from what you said very early on is the crisis management team that you developed. And I think that's so important, not just in COVID, but you never know when a crisis is going to come at you. Can you talk a little bit about your thoughts into developing that team and who you put on that team to get you through the crisis?
I developed it a couple of weeks before the D. It means before this March 12th, because I traveled a lot, and at the end of last year I traveled around China and Asia, so I had a feeling that something's happening in Asia. And on the beginning of this year, I traveled a lot around Europe, so I had a feeling that business is going to change this year, and it will happen. And you're right that we have a crisis team, let's say in the normal days, but not in a stand in a and to be ready. But it's 17 people, and they are people from communication, because during these days you have to manage crisis communication, what is different, completely different than during normal days, because you have to communicate very quick and very open mind, and use all the tools. And yeah, we came with new tools like video streams and a lot of newsletters, and we built our blog, a new blog for all the target groups, so it's really different. And the second is IT, because without IT infrastructure, I can imagine that we would survive. That okay, we have 45 IT guys and IT supports people, but I have two most important people in a crisis team. And it's for external projects, and the second for internal project. And to manage IT during COVID time is different as well, because I had planned with IT projects for this year for around 80 projects, and it was completely changed, because when this pandemic started, I started to think that okay, retail is closed, so I have to bring another project. So I came and I started to work with my team with a completely new project, the Z-Box, what is not touch automatic withdrawal boxes. It's like a completely like a robotic thing, and with a solar panel, so you don't need to connect with electricity anymore. So it's and the most important thing, that you don't need to touch this box when you want to pick up your parcel from e-commerce. So it's very important, and we are the first in Europe. And I started with this project thanks pandemic, because I started to think like, yeah, to be digital chameleon, like what kind of project to bring to the market and to help the situation. So this project had born thanks pandemic. And we brought a lot of new projects with this IT team, and then I have people from operation and all the CEOs, because I mentioned that I have 8 companies, so right. All the CEOs from these companies, from Hungary, Poland, Germany, Czech Republic, Slovak, America. And Dubai, they became to be a part of this team, and okay, we had to discuss digital level, because like not everybody were inside in our offices, because from America and from Dubai we have to communicate like through digital tools. But of course, it was quite helpful, and yeah, operation and logistic, yeah, and I think that's it.
Fabulous.
So, and if we make a decision, it's very quick to communicate all the changes to our teams. That's the most important.
Christine, may I have one, because what I love, it's really one thing which you said, and I have to say 100% I am. What you said regarding communication and openness to the people on all the measures which you have done, I learned this is really so important. And I like the quote that a friend of mine was saying to me, and it's clear is kind and unclear is unkind, yeah? Which is really great, and it's amazing. So thank you that you said that, because it's something which was coming to my head as well.
You know what, I think that people, that they are afraid to share some unpopular information or bad yeah. information, and I think that that opposite is right.
That's right.
Tell them the truth,
yeah.
and tell them true outro is really uncomfortable for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Simona. That was fabulous.
Thank you.
And now we're going to turn to Cheryl Edison in California. Cheryl, it's all you now.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, can you hear me? I guess I should just say, can you hear me? Let me know. You can.
Perfect.
I feel like I should put my mask on because everybody else is. I'm the only one. So I'm going to start here by saying a couple of words about myself, just to kind of feel a little bit closer to you. And I'm going to start this presentation here, just because that's the way I'm used to doing it. So I'll do it this way. So when I learned about getting together with you ladies today, I didn't actually know what it was going to be like. And I have to say that I have just been enjoying every single word that you've been saying. I love the way that you've approached the pandemic and how you've moved your businesses. I feel inspired by what I've heard you say. So some of the things that I will be saying now are very similar to what you've already said. So I'll just kind of move through my presentation, and I hope that you'll stop me along the way if you wish. So I've dedicated my life to creativity, community, and commerce. And what I mean by that is that you are speaking about the things that you've done in very specific ways for very specific situations. What I'm doing is looking at the whole ecosystem of the world from my perspective of startups. I'm entirely focused on launching companies and launching new products and services. Here on this slide, what you see is a whole bunch of companies that I've worked with. And of course, many, many more, because it's 57 industries and it's pretty much every continent. Last year, I worked in 16 countries, 167 keynotes. So that's a lot of different places to be. Most of my work is focused on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Why? Because when companies are new and they're trying to figure out how to create their business model and how to actually connect in a way that can be scalable, one of the biggest things that will help them is to connect to a big problem. Big problem, big opportunity, as you ladies well know. So these 17 problems that we all have in the world, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, have been pillars for me that I've used to help startups focus on problems that are actually big enough to make a difference. You know, the entrepreneurs in the world are all over the place. We're one big tribe. We all know that. And this slide right here just kind of shows where more of us are. You know, where the big balls of blue are, that's where more of us are. And where there aren't any balls, where there just aren't as many. But one of the things that I'm really aware of, and which I'm sure you are as well, is that, as someone here already said, as entrepreneurs, we must always focus on what wants to happen next. What wants to happen next is actually the only thing we need to focus on in order to build businesses that actually contribute something to the world. If we don't focus on what's trying to emerge, we're not actually contributing anything that's worth doing. And along with that, something someone else said, I'm sure you'll remember who it was. Who do I need to be? Who do I need to become in order to be that leader? How do I have to change in order to lead in a way that will actually bring that new reality into existence? So I'm going to pause a moment here and talk about men and women in leadership. There aren't any men around in this moment, but as we know, there are lots of men who are leading. Mm-hmm. And I would like to point out for just a moment how we're different from men, not all of us, statistically. Mm-hmm. So statistically, if we take a quick peek at this slide, what we see is that men are different than women in two main ways doing business. They negotiate more profitable deals. Okay, ladies? They negotiate more profitable deals. And they're more willing to take risks. Again, this may not be about you. I don't feel like it's entirely about me. But statistically, this is who we are in the world. And in order for us as women entrepreneurs to succeed, I believe that we must encourage one another. We must encourage one another to take bigger risks, to go for the horizon. And we need to encourage one another not to just make all of those win-win or win-lose deals, as we women often do, but actually to negotiate and make a profitable deal. That's what's important. It's our humanity that links us around the world. Whether we share the same language or whether we eat the same food, we're all the same. And so everyone here, I'm sure, knows about Maslow's hierarchy. The reason I put it here on the screen is because in this way, we are now able to focus on the effects of the pandemic and how we as a planet can come together and actually make a difference by doing things that will make a difference, not just to our communities, not just to our region or our own countries, but actually make a difference beyond ourselves and around the world. Of course, these are the same ways that brands work. But for those in the audience who may not be as skilled in entrepreneurialism as the lovely ladies who I'm working with today in the studio, these are the 5 steps of building a business. They're the only 5 steps there are. Every business in the world does these 5. And so I'm putting it out there and saying that first we have an idea, decide if it's a product or a service, measure client response. At the point that we're measuring client response, what we're deciding is, did I sell something? And if I sold it, how much did I sell it for? How did the client receive it? And by noticing how the client responds to it, we can then increase our total addressable market, as you ladies know, and come to step number 4, which, oh, by the way, is the step that we are all in right now, pivot. Because every business in the world always arrives to step number 4. We always pivot before we scale or before we exit. So this pivot is where we all are right now today in the middle of this pandemic. And so I invite us all just to notice that, hey, guess what? It's normal. It's always like that. It's just another pivot. Okay, we're all going through it at the same time. It's kind of like having your girlfriends and you're all going through like some kind of cycle at the same time. That's okay. We can all go through it together. We're not going to complain. A little bit too graphic, maybe. So all I'm saying is that these are things that are happening to everybody at the same time. I'm going to move right along here and not take too much more time. So when we are looking at how to have a startup a success, and I think that many people in our audience may be starting up for the very first time, these are the steps that we take and what happens. When you have the idea, you're discovering, is it addressing a meaningful problem? When you're deciding if it's a product or a service or some combination of both, well, that's when we're validating, is somebody going to love this thing? Should we really be doing it? When you measure client response, we're trying to hear really what does the client say, not what we think they ought to say or what we think they should say. No, what are they really saying? And hear and see with fresh eyes. The pivot is really all about moving to the business model 2.0 and increasing financing. For me, since the pandemic, which for me began in about January, I've turned 50% of my attention on financing. I bring together startups with all these investors who are trying to move their money, because that's one of the things that happens when an economy starts to turn down, as we all know, it's trying to do right now. The investors go a little wild. They start wanting to move their money around. So why not let them move their money into the right startups that are going to make a difference? Again, persevere or exit. Because now, after the pivot, there will be consolidation. Some things will fade away and new things will emerge. Let's take a look at this. What do these logos have in common? They were all companies that were launched in a downturn economy. Every one of these companies launched when things were bad, really bad. There's another one that's not even shown here, Disney. Disney launched in 1928. It was bad economy. So basically what I'm saying here is that a downturn is a great time to launch a new company.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can believe me, it's true. So how are business models created? Well, you ladies know, and I'm just going to run through it very quickly. We have to really be as human as possible. We need to think about who is the person that's the client. Why is this going to be profitable? Where exactly is it going to be sold? And how is the value created? When we get through making a real business model, when we really know what it is actually that we're offering, because many times the biggest problem is it a product or is it a service? And the entrepreneur thinks it's a service when it's a product, or a product when it's a service. And that's the big mistake at the beginning. And that's when we can have a scalable business model, like my lovely colleague with the 1,500 employees. Now that's a big scale. So I want to speak again about how all of this comes together for an entrepreneur. Well, people who are entrepreneurs for the very first time, they always think that they just need cash. If somebody would just fund me, if somebody would just fund me. But honestly, we can't fund anybody until they're into the pivot. Why? Because actually, businesses begin with mindset. All the businesses begin with a startup mindset. Here's some more detail on that. I'm not going to talk all through all the steps because it's just too much and kind of boring for you ladies because you already know all this. But basically, every startup ecosystem in the world works like this. This is what it looks like. And so each of these elements must be present and must be in balance. Otherwise, the startups have a very hard time. Why do we need the startups? Because we need the innovation. We need the innovation because we need to know what wants to happen next. As the lovely First Lady said from Deloitte, she was right. What is it? So what can we do? We can choose our own attitude. That's the most important thing. We can explore as if for the very first time. We can define the space in which we're working, like the lovely second lady who was talking about, now we're online, what are we going to do? Well, that's a new space you're defining. Discard any perception of what's possible and note the new rhythms of the day that may be different than what was previously common for us. And use all 6 senses. People say there are 5 senses. We're here as women, we get to have a 6th. Because sometimes we know, and we just know, because our intuition tells us, because our gut tells us, because we just know, and we know with our extra sense, and know even when it doesn't seem we ought to. And that's the most important sense that another lady already said in this meeting. Being playful is something which some people might not agree with, but I'm going to say it's the most important thing here. It's because if we're playful, we can actually test, we can experiment, we can try things, and there are no failures that are deadly failures. We can try again, we can get up, and then we can reflect in silence, because we as women have an enormous opportunity, and that is to look inward and to access the wisdom inside of ourselves, and in that way to know the truth, know what our right action is, and actually to see beyond the data and just take a decision. As the lovely second lady said, take a decision, be certain, give strength to the people around us. Why? Because we can. Because we can take note of what wants to happen next, and we can move everyone in that direction. At the end of the day, what we as women are often best at is choosing to be grateful, choosing to be grateful and being resilient. We are resilient because we're flexible, because we're mothers of invention, because we've been so lacking resource for so long, because all the guys have all the resources, that we figured out how to get around and make things happen, even when we don't have the traditional resources. And so we know how to be resilient. We know how to be gracious. And those are the most important things now in the times of the pandemic, to do what can happen next and make the world what we intend it to be. So I invite you to make creativity, to make community, to make commerce, because now we can. It's a big opportunity that we have right now to have the world be exactly as we wish it to be. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Cheryl. So a quick question for you. You had talked about how with the pandemic, a lot of investors are kind of shifting their money. My question for you is what are the trends? What are the investors looking for in this time of crisis?
Okay, so look, basically the investors follow the trends of the behaviors of the people who are spending money, right? So what's happening with people? People are sad. There's a huge rise in mental health issues. There's a huge rise in people trying to get health care while they're not leaving their houses. There's a huge rise in things becoming digital that previously weren't digital. So all of the things that we are experiencing as individuals in our own lives, like I need the food delivered here at my door because I'm not going to the grocery store. Those are trends which then the investors follow too. They follow the same things.
Yep, fabulous. I think that's perfect insight. Thanks so much, Cheryl. And now we're going to move on to our last speaker, Yitka. Fabulous. Yitka, the floor is yours.
Well, ladies, it's really difficult for me to speak now because I'm so impressed and so overwhelmed by everything that I have heard so far. I feel so home here with you. I mean, I have so many questions for each one of you that this session will not be enough. I mean, I hear about people, culture, openness, learning, fairness, entrepreneurial spirit, about what women and men bring to the table, about our sixth sense. That used to be a forbidden word when I started working. It's amazing. And also, Cheryl, the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Oh my gosh, Veolia just introduced the new approach to performance, multifaceted performance, which is all based on all those United Nations sustainable goals. I mean, like, the world is coming together for me here. And I trained the whole Europe for purpose and our purpose and the multifaceted approach. So, oh wow, it's, you know, I started working in the times when people were regarded as a cost. And now I hear a couple of years later your marvelous comments about how people matter, how we must take care of them. And that's a very nice bridge to my topic, actually, because I joined Veolia, a global provider of water, waste management and energy, an environmental global player. I joined this company after returning from abroad in March this year. Can you imagine? So they joke that with me came the COVID. Like in the Western movie, with me comes the law, with me came the COVID. So I felt the pain of starting a new job in a new company from home. I found some resilience in me still at that time, but I'm a strong fighter, but still I felt uncomfortable. I felt the pain. I was tired, overworked, because the more you are home, the more you want to work, especially with a new job. So I kind of empathized with people in the company and their problems. Many people were scared. They feared. They had to take care of the family situation all of a sudden. Especially in spring, it was difficult. So I was also thinking, all right, how do we, as a huge player, as a huge company with 7,000 people in the Czech Republic and 25,000 people in my little kingdom called Central and Eastern Europe, how do we support our people? Because they work in the critical infrastructure. They take care of water, warm water, heat, and waste management for individuals and institutions every day. So how do we support them in the tough year? And that's actually the topic of my little contribution, how to approach the turmoil as an opportunity. And that's very much what Cheryl was talking about and you were talking about. how to see the glass half full when the whole world is talking about glass half empty. And that tactic actually paid off very much. Veolia in general puts health and safety in the first place in its strategy globally. It's a non-negotiable, it's a priority number one. Yes, cash is king, budget is low. I recognize that sentence as well. But in addition to that, health and safety of our people is number one. And then I listened to my colleagues, the professional HR people on the market, not only in the Czech Republic, but globally, and I heard them say, we dismiss people, we freeze salaries, we don't hire, we stopped training. And I was like, here we go again. That is so many times I experienced it in the past in companies when there were crises before. I thought this is not the way to do it, and this is not the Veolia DNA. So we discussed in the management, and I was actually very happy to see that immediately, because again, to your point, Simona, the fast decision making, that is key. So normally in the past I negotiated a couple of years with management teams to get a benefits or some kind of employee care item to the company. And now the statement of the management was very clear. We don't have time for that, let's do. And that was fantastic. So we actually launched a new service to our employees, which is the new fashion, I would say, in the world, and that is telemedicine. Or it's also called doctor in your pocket or online doctor. Telemedicine is the more formal word. So we found a very good partner in the Czech Republic so far. It's a startup, like Cheryl was talking about, a company who started 4 years ago, MediHub, managed by Mr. Pecina and his partner. And it's a very serious company. They put so much passion into explaining to me and our people how it works. They trained the managers, they trained the employees in all the locations where we wanted to launch this service, that it helped us very much overcome the initial fear of change. We're humans, so every change hurts. And I'm no exception. If somebody moves my toothbrush in the bathroom, I'm not happy either. So, it's a very intimate thing, medicine, doctors. So we really allocated a lot of time and efforts to explain how it works, to answer any questions, even challenging questions of anybody. And mainly we were there with the people on site, of course, with masks. And like that, step by step, slowly, even conservative people started to discover the beauty of this. I know it's a bit scary. Throughout the years, we became more or digital in terms of banking, mobile operators, shopping. Even I do e-shopping now, delivered to the door. That medical service, that is where it stops for some people, right? Because you have to deliberately share your personal data. You need to copy the evidence of your medical reports. Yeah, it's a big step. But then the service works very well. The doctor responds to you within 2 hours. You can stay home. You don't have to go to the crowded office of the doctor where you wait, lose time, or you fear of infection. You can manage actually how you want. And you can include also your family members, especially children, in that service. And that helped very much. Because we believe in Veolia that people can do all those great things like you've mentioned, to be open-minded, to develop, train, have ideas, manage new projects, take good care of our clients. They can do it if they are well. Well-being, you said it, Anna. That is key to great performance and good business. So I'm very aware of the fact that if people are stressed by too many troubles, too many burdens on their shoulders, and I'm always amazed how much some people have to take on their shoulders in their lives, then I thought in this difficult year, it is already too much with this extra critical situation. So they are actually quite happy to have this relief. For example, over the weekend, if something happens to a child, it doesn't have to be too serious, but you can be stressed and nervous because your child is unwell. Now what to do? To go to the emergency, you have to wait forever. Your doctor is not there anyway, or you get even rejected sometimes because there are more serious cases. So you can sit in your living room, get connected with the doctor online, get the advice, calm down, and go on. So that helps very much. And we are still rolling it out. It's a new thing. So we are taking one company after another. We have many business units in the Czech Republic, so it takes time to do it right for all. And the ambition is to launch it also in the Central and Eastern European region for all our countries and their employees. Because this is something that our people appreciate very much, actually. And we appreciate that as well, because it's a benefit for us as an employer. People are well, they come to work, we need them to be at work. We do not want them to fall into an illness, be absent at all costs. And the service to our customers, to our clients, can be continuously delivered. So from the business continuity point of view, it's a great advantage, especially for our company.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things I got from your presentation was the importance of managing change, right? Whether it's deliberate or it's forced upon you, as we look with COVID, is that we've all been forced to change our habits, forced to change the way that we do work. So what are some of the strategies that you use as a human resources manager to help your employees manage that change or prepare for that change?
It's a very good wrapping up question, because actually everything has been said here already, so I can only summarize. And I do it all the time, wherever I am, whichever country, and that is actually a common denominator everywhere. So number one, it's about why do we change? Why do we need to do it? And what happens if we don't? That's what I start with, and I really learned how to give people time to let it sink in. Because it can be clear to me, because I've been in the management waters for years, so I'm more tuned to that level now. But it might not be so obvious for other people who are technicians or operations people, and their world is different. So I really allow a lot of time and a lot of open discussions, open door policy, to make sure that people understand. They may not agree, but they should understand why we change. And secondly, be transparent, open, fair about explaining to them how the process will look like. In all honesty, how much time it's going to take. It's not going to be fun and good news only. But be fair about it and be personally strong enough and prepared to take the heat. Because the emotions are there, of course. But what I've seen so often, that management shies away and asks HR to do the job. No, it pays off that the management is there, faces the situation, takes the heat, responds to the emotion, or just stays silent, but gives the space for people. So that, and then it of course requires, and again it was mentioned here, it requires a competent team to manage the change. This is not a joke. Some changes are so vital and so important, and you must ask your best people to join you with competence and diversity. Everybody brings something to the table, women and men, different skill sets, and then you get there. And also be ready to stop when you see it's failing. Again, manage failure, manage mistake. It can happen, and typically it happens. Stop, review, reflect, change, and go on again until it's done properly. And admit to people, yes, that was a wrong step. We're not perfect. There are so many, things we cannot predict or change on the go. That to expect a perfect project where management is assessed by they do everything right, they are great, if not they are not so great. Nah, it's the opposite. The ability to admit, oh, we derail, so we stop, fix it, and go on again.
Absolutely. I feel like that's part of authentic leadership.
Yeah, that's a great word.
Authenticity is so valued by our employees.
It is.
It's really important.
I would sign it 100 times. Authenticity, personal touch, give it your personality, be connected to the people. This is not just a project management skills. To change, I believe after all those years, that to manage change successfully, you really need to be invested in it yourself.
Absolutely. And with that, that is the end of our formal presentations and the beginning of our question and answer period. So I would just like to let the viewers to please remind you that there is a button in your upper right-hand portion of your screen where you can type in questions that will be fed to us here in the studio, and then I can address them to any of our speakers. But I will take the first question, if I may. I think one of the great tragedies of the pandemic is that many women have had to leave the workplace. I think in the United States, it's up to 1 million women have had to leave their jobs in order to deal with childcare or homeschooling of their children. So I guess my question is how do we best get them back in as soon as possible? Because this is a resource that we can't do without. Or how do we modify our businesses or the workplace so that we don't lose these women? And that is a general question. Maybe we'll start with Diana.
I should say it's a fantastic question, and we are raising this question not only now but forever. Yeah, because we always had women and they are going to maternity leave, how to bring them back quickly, yeah, how to support them during this time. So I should say, by lucky, in many aspects, we during the pandemic didn't lose them. Yeah, we have been giving them the space, the possibility to stay home, but at the same time, we provided them the flexibility that they can be coming back whenever. Yeah, so technologically, we have been ready to communicate with them. We provided plenty of support, even from the psychology perspective, because you will be surprised during the pandemic, really the struggle. I have 3 kids at home, I have to work. So we have even psychologists which can be helpful for them, and plenty of women have been using it, which was interesting. But the ambition was, if you need to stay at home, stay. We will manage, but we will manage together. So we have been really creating much more flexibility on the teams. We even have been hiring more people to be able to go through this, yeah, so which have been students, etc., helping. Of course, it's not perfect because we are in a business which is doable this way. There are other businesses which you just can't, yeah. So, but we have the luxury of being able to do so, yeah. But it's because we already had the culture of supporting the women in the past through maternity. I don't know, you live now in Czech Republic, so you know that our women have been in the past able to stay even for 3-4 years at home. But we have been trying to really help them to come earlier, that it's manageable, etc. So we already had this culture of helping the women coming back step by step. So now with the pandemic, it was not so difficult to work on that. So we have majority of the women working, let's say 70% today, because they feel that they are able to manage that by our support. So I'm proud of that, to be honest. Yeah, but it's because of the past.
So sadly, maternity leave does not exist in the United States.
I know.
So I think we have a lot to learn from you all. Yeah. Simona, how do you deal with women that need or have pressures at home?
Actually, I definitely agree with Diana because I feel the same. I'm a mom of 3 kids as well, so I'm like working mom, and of course I'm an entrepreneur of a huge company and a huge holding with 1,500 employees, and 40% of these employees are women. And I work with this possibility and with the diversity only for 10 years. Because I was a startupist, I was alone. Then my company began to change for from a startup to fast-growing company. And today's holding is incredible. And I'm competitor to a state company here at Czech Post here in the Czech Republic. And I became to be a very huge in Europe as well. So, and I think this we have to be role models. We have to show how to work with the possibility of women and how to work with the diversity in our companies. And all through, I run digital company, technological company, and it's a logistic platform. I do support for our working moms and working women. And it's about mindset of entrepreneurs. It's about mindset of management in our companies. We have to tell them that it's very important diversity of our teams. I can show you also so many examples. For example, if I run our projects and I have like 50-50 team in project, like the 50% woman, 50% is covered by men, it's better when I start project where is 100 men. And a project where there is better diversity, they have a huge success and better success than projects and there were only men. Like, trust me, it's my experience. And I think it's about our mindset and tell to the market that it's very good to open, for example, flexible part-time jobs or flexible some working possibilities. Do you know what, when this pandemic started on the beginning of March here in this country, I feel that my working moms, they need help. So I open like some kids community in our offices, because we have a lot of offices around all Europe. So I ask my HR managers, open this community and to find teachers and to help the moms who started to fear or be afraid to send the kids to the school. So I open this community. And that definitely, when this pandemic situation will be a little bit better, because now a lot of my working moms are at home with the kids because school is not gone, and they are teachers and they're taking care about their homes and families. So, and I'm open for home office. I'm open for a flexible working place. I'm very open for give them support, because these working moms give me this support back. And I consider this opinion that this is right. So I'm really open to be a role model in this. And if you come to my company, like not now, because like all the company is home office, but and the only crisis, all the members of crisis management are involved in the huge office. It's like you can imagine you come to our office. It's a huge 3 floors, and you feel like it's a house of ghosts. There is nobody there. But in normal time, you can see a lot of kids running around and dogs and everything. So I feel like that my people, they have to feel like in family houses, and that they have a better focus for their job. And of course, it's a culture. And you mentioned it before that the culture is very important for the community in the office and in our companies.
Absolutely. Cheryl, maybe you can share with us how some of the companies that you've worked for were able to keep working moms engaged, or how they intend to do better, maybe.
So I believe that the entire world of work has now changed and will never go back to the way it was. What happened was that there were some of us who were digital nomads. But now, moving forward, there will not be so much business travel. There will not be huge offices where everybody always comes. There will not be this kind of living that's always in the city, because all of the movement is going out of the city. So I'm going to include moms and working moms, including my sister, who is a partner at PwC, and she's a working mom, and she loves being home. And that is my experience of everyone that I've come in contact with over the last 9 months. People love working at home. And statistically, people are more productive, people are happier, and it's better for the companies. So eventually, I think that this whole question around how it is that we take care of moms, or how we take care of dads, or how we take care of children, there's going to be a very large evolution, which includes everyone.
Absolutely. Yitka, what do you think as the human resources expert here on our panel? This is very important.
Again, ladies, I can only sum up and wrap up what has been said. What can I add? You've named it so accurately. Well, first of all, as an HR professional, I think that we as companies cannot allow not to invite the women back to work. And why? Because there is a shortage of talent, a shortage of workforce. I'm shocked how the demographic pattern actually looks like and how we're growing older. And the young generation has different interests than we had. So to attract them to work is actually more and more difficult. I know, because I do it every day. So that's number one. We need the women. And secondly, this year actually helped us tremendously because we leaped forward significantly towards flexibility, different principles of managing people. Some people struggle, but many people got it. And it's not important so much as before where the people, including women, are located. We do not insist that they travel to our headquarters far away. No, we respect each and every individual case. But here it goes. It's about a company culture. We have to prepare a good climate for these women where they can thrive. And I would even say we have to adopt a principle of individual approach. The hybrid solution means that we identify each job, each person, and what's best for that particular situation and person. I have people who are mad staying at home because they are extroverts or because they have children or who scream all the time and jump into the hangouts, or they have a small apartment, or they do not have the right technology, or different reasons. So it's very much about finding the right solution for a job and a person, including a woman. And what does it mean? It means that we need to train, especially in the male-dominated companies, to train the skills of frequent check-ins, how to talk to people, how to have a human dialogue, not only about the KPIs, that comes next. But before the person, the woman, can deliver at her best, she needs to be well, she needs to feel okay. And for that, she needs a dialogue, someone who really listens to her, understands her needs and what she says to the manager. And then looking together for a common way, how to find a solution that is good for her and good for us. And that skill is so easy to say and so difficult to see in practice still. It's improving, but we are not yet there.
So this is just a question on that specifically for you. So how do you communicate the need for this more flexibility to male leadership in the company?
Multiple methods. I think, Christine, the biggest communication happened by itself, by what happened this year. I can actually compare, because what I discussed as an HR manager with management teams before for ages, it happened within 1 year because we were forced to actually think and work differently. But still, it is about explaining, and that goes back to Cheryl's points, explaining what's in it for them if they do it, how the business will benefit from such a climate at work, because there is this correlation proven by 100 studies. If people feel well, and there is a good climate at work, they perform better, they are more engaged, and they do better business because they do better with clients. It's like with diversity and inclusion, same formula. So we try to explain like this, what's in it for them, and we also offer certain kind of development initiatives suitable and tailor-made for each and every person, because somebody has said it here today as well. Some people do not take development as a strength. They think that because they are in a high position, they are already perfect, otherwise they wouldn't be there, which is a very traditional and old-fashioned attitude, which I tried to break. Yeah. So every person is different. Someone wants to be supported and appreciates very much if we in HR offer professional help. Someone needs more time to change minds, and that was my question to Diana. How did you manage to introduce this new culture of openness, learning, attitude, changed mindset with the existing people? Because we are born with a certain mindset, a certain DNA, a certain religion. So how do you guide people to the new world? That is a discussion I'd like to have with you later on.
Yeah. Maybe that's part 2. So one question from one of our viewers, it was for Simona, but I think it's applicable to every single one of you, is what was the hardest thing for you, the biggest challenge when the pandemic hit? And I'm going to say pandemic, for us it was March 12th, but as Cheryl had said, she had to deal with it much earlier. So what was the biggest challenge, and then how did you overcome that challenge?
Biggest challenge. I think that it's everything about the people. Because when I stand behind a table and I just recognize what happened, that our business is decreasing rapidly by 50%, I had to touch the table. I was like, 1,500 employees. And you mentioned before, it's about families. It's not about the employees. It's about all the community, all the families. I was like, what to do, not to, to delete the positions and to cut the employee stuff. The first thing what I start to mention and start to work on this point, because doesn't matter. Like if I have a turnover 2.5 billion Czech crowns this year, and if I'll have 2.2 or 2.1. Doesn't matter. The most important is cash, not the turnover. So that's why I start to think about, okay, cash is the first thing, second, employees. So how to keep these positions and how to work with all these numbers. And it was the most important. And I asked the employees, do you know what? I have to cut the salaries, but not like regular salaries, but the bonuses and all this like extra salaries. Just not a cut, but I just try to take it for 1, maybe 2 months, and then I'll give it back. And I tell this very uncomfortable information during my live stream and in the half during the March. And the employees then they came to me, Simona, we'll give you more. If you need more, we're gonna give you the support. You know, all the sales teams from Slovakia, from Hungary came to me back, like we give you more because we want to handle the company going on and going through this pandemic situation, and we really want to help each other. We don't want to cut even one position from our team. So it was really very challenging for me because first of all, I feel that there's this incredible culture in the company, that the people are ready to help each other. And do you know what? It's, if you tell them this promise that if a company will increasing again and will do performance again very good, I will give them this money back, and I'll give them doubled. So if I give them all the bonuses back and I give them doubled bonuses because they helped me a lot, I didn't need to go to the bank ask for the loan because I take this loan from my employees. They helped me, they supported me, and I give them back all these bonuses doubled.
Amazing, amazing. I think that's testament to your leadership before the pandemic. Really, Diana, what was your
the main
biggest challenge?
I really believe that the main challenge was to calm the people, that they do not need to panic, that they really are not losing the job, that this is not the case. And as well to show them that like the safeness that they can have with us from the medical perspective. So I fully support what we are doing same direction. So those have been the 2 challenges which we have. And that's why we had to be very quick on making plenty of our analyses and plans. And we have done exactly the same as Simona. We have like, you can call it planning, stretch plan, base plan, and I don't know, whatever. But we have done a promise to the people on saying, okay, maybe we are doing some hard measures now, but we need you to understand why. But whatever we will generate over, we will be distributing it back. We are not keeping it for us. So, and I believe by doing that and by really presenting to the people periodically what we are doing, we have a crisis team, etc. I should say they really feel safe. So I found out that the most challenging was that the people feel with us safe, that they are not losing anything, etc. And we are going through restructuralization. This is true. Plenty of things are changing. But this doesn't mean that you cannot be using the same people. Yeah, it's just the mindset which we have to try, give them the space, maybe in a different direction, but why not? Yeah? So, of course, we in some cases, we lose people, that's true. But we are losing people because they are getting new jobs somewhere else, and this is fine, yeah? But we make a commitment that we are not decreasing the staff because of the pandemic. And I believe this was the main thing which the people appreciated, the safeness. But it was the biggest challenge, how to do it, how to make sure that we can manage that. And it requires plenty of really work permanently. Yeah, you are on the figures all the time. All the time you are on figures. Yeah. So, but it was a challenge.
Yeah. Cheryl, what was your greatest challenge when the pandemic hit, and how did you overcome it?
Well, so I've been thinking and trying to come up with a succinct way to answer this question. So there are really three things that happened for me. The first thing is that because I'm usually traveling 3 weeks of every month, just being in my house and me being here in my house continually alone every day by myself was a really big change. It was a huge change. And so in that way, because you might guess, I work a lot. So I was working 15, 16, 17, 20 hours a day because all of the time zones were right here and I wasn't traveling. So I had much more time to work. And so I began beating myself down physically. So this was the biggest challenge. I had to stop that.
I recognize.
Second thing was that I kept asking myself, what can I contribute now? What do I need to do? And initially I thought, I have to move ventilators, masks, gloves. I got to get in there. I got to make it happen. Somebody's got to fix this. Soon it became apparent to me that what I really needed to do was to help all of the startups figure out how to pivot. Every single company that I work with, whether I've worked with them for 10 years or whether, and they're big companies, or whether they're just now launching, everybody had to figure out how to pivot. And so that is really what I've spent the majority of my time doing, is focusing on, now that the situation looks like this, what will it look like then? And how can you imagine what you need to do next in order to meet that next opportunity? And so that's really the biggest challenge that I've been facing, is how many people can I help in a single day? And so, for instance, this week, Global Entrepreneurship Week, yesterday I was all day in Panama. The day before it was Bolivia. And so I'm basically just running through the time zones, but I'm in my house. So that's basically a big challenge for me, just to keep grounded on helping as much as I can help with each individual person and what they need in order to pivot to the new opportunity.
So true. We were all nodding our heads throughout the entire time you were talking.
Oh, I couldn't see you.
Yitka, you started a new job, but what else? What was the greatest challenge for you?
Sorry,
with the
ladies,
pandemic?
that I cannot put off the mask so that you can see my big smile. I'll be very honest with you. For me this year, it was three things. I mean, I will not shy away from it. The first challenge definitely was me personally, because I just landed from the Netherlands in January. I was missing my team, my colleagues, the country, and everything. So I struggled, and it changed. Huh? It's not like this. So that was one thing. Secondly, I fully recognize what Cheryl is saying. I started up my new job from the home office, and I really panicked, but for 25 minutes only. I measured. I really felt panic. How do I do this? How do I start up my job not knowing anybody, not knowing even which countries I have in my portfolio? So I felt the panic. But then I calmed down and I pulled up my sleeves, which was the third challenge. All of a sudden, after years of being spoiled on boards by executive assistants and competent teams, there was me, myself, and I in the living room, and being asked by my boss in France to deliver by 5 p.m. a big job. I was like, okay, this is probably the first time I'm not going to deliver. So then I learned again how to pull out my own sleeves, how to remember Google, how to remember how to hang out, and how to, put my own fingers on something again and produce myself everything that is requested. Did it make me nervous? Oh, hell yes. But I delivered. I sweated. It's true. I got overworked. I got tired. I stopped going to gym, so I felt really uncomfortable like an elephant. But then I found my way, and I can tell you, ladies, it was very, very healthy for me that I took this kind of theoretically step back in order to take 3 steps ahead later on. Because it's a healthy exercise sometimes to touch the world of real work. But the last challenge, and again, I will not shy away from it, was the culture difference, how to become respected in a male-dominated environment in the Czech Republic. The culture here is different still. And I felt, again, the pain, but I thought, okay, either I stay emotional about it, which is road to hell, or I become pragmatic, constructive professional, and I change my situation. So again, healthy exercise, but I have to coach myself all the time how to recognize those emotions, work with them, but then attack the situation and change it.
Perfect. Absolutely. I am so sad to say that we have approached the end of our time, but what I'd like to do is maybe just get like one last thought from each of you before we say goodbye and sign off. So let's start with our host, Diana.
Okay. You know, I will maybe repeat something what Cheryl was saying, but I really love it, and I would like to end positively, which is, even we are in the pandemic and it's a challenge, I believe it's a great opportunity. It's a really amazing opportunity. We just need to use it. And I should say again, because plenty of my people are for sure looking to this show which we have here. Let's call it show. It's that I'm so proud of them, because the first week of the pandemic they came with 120 ideas what we can do on the first week of the pandemic, which I couldn't believe that the people having in panic are able to be so innovative, so great, because they wanted to do something for themselves, for the people around them, for their kids. So for me, I want to be positive, because I know that this pandemic will help us. We will be even stronger than we are today. So that's from my side.
Fabulous. Simona?
I would say don't be in a panic, please, because everything is going over, and I think that we will definitely look to the light at the end of this tunnel, because it's coming to be gone in a while, I consider, and I would love to be positive, not like with negative tests to be positive, but with positive mindset, and definitely try to be digital, try to be digital chameleons, as I mentioned, and yeah, I think that every crisis brings new ideas and new possibilities and new opportunities. And as Cheryl mentioned in her presentation, my company was founded in 2010, so during economic crisis, the first economic crisis here in the Czech Republic, and yeah, and suddenly I can't believe how big we are now. And I think that last thing is to be helpful to each other, and try to help a community, try to help to your employees, partners, and the members of your team, because all this helpness and all this kindness is going back to you.
Absolutely. Cheryl, last thoughts.
Oh, let's see. Well, here's Larry would like to say hello. Here's what I think. Big problems, big opportunities. Chaos. In chaos, everything is moving. We have an incredible moment to put pieces back together, or in new ways, new orders. This is a great moment for all of us, as we all know here. But especially, it's a great moment for those of us who we know should be here with us today. If we know a woman who should be here with us today, who may not even be participating by listening to this broadcast, we need to take responsibility and reach back and welcome that person forward to be with us. Because this is a great moment for us as women to come together and to increase the power of us as women, because this is a moment to nurture ourselves. And we do that really well.
Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Yitka, your last
And here's
thoughts.
what I think.
You get to wrap up.
It is possible to see this year or even next year, if the problems continue, as an opportunity. Yes, absolutely, but under one condition, that we take good care of our own mental and physical health, and we support others in doing that. Otherwise, none of it, what we were talking about, is possible.
True.
So please do that.
Absolutely fabulous. So thank you all for your.
Always clap in Silicon Valley. Yay!
And just
hosting. I have to tell you, you're a great host. I just have to say that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I will take the opportunity to wrap up and just say some of the things that I took away from this. First of all, I feel so inspired and empowered by each and every one of you, and I hope that our viewers got to see that as well. Some of the little tidbits that I got was, part of this is how to see the glass half full when the world sees it as half empty. Beautiful. How can I help? Right? How do we help each other? How do we help our employees? How do we lift other women? It's such a, we have to make sure that's part of our culture and that we are looking for those opportunities. And we find the opportunities during that time of adversity, right? So looking at that list of how many great companies were founded during downturns, Simona's company and Packeta, the success that has come out of the financial crisis. There is opportunity waiting for you out there. And it's the light at the end of the tunnel. I think we can all see that light, you know, whether it's through a vaccine, but there is a light. And so we have to keep moving forward. So thank you, all of you. And on behalf of the U.S. Embassy here in Prague, thank you so much to Deloitte for hosting us in this beautiful studio. And I hope we can do something like this again. So thank you, all of our viewers, for tuning in, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much
for great facilitation.
Bye-bye.
You have been great. You have been great. Thank you.